Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our book launch event. My name is Nimita Sahi, and I'm delighted to be your host today on behalf of Adhyan Books. I hope you're enjoying discovering new authors and their compelling stories. Please do share your thoughts in the comment section. Today, we're discussing a particularly relevant book of our times. The book is titled Disconnected: The Morrison Family's Digital Rebellion. Let me welcome the author to be up amongst us. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mita. Thank you for having me. I'm good.
So, just to introduce our author today, Dr. Raman Subramaniam serves as Associate Dean and Head of Institutional Relations at Westwood University College in Sharjah, UAE. His remarkable career spans 16 years in banking and 11 years in higher education, giving him a multi-dimensional perspective on how technology shapes our professional and personal lives. As both an educator mentoring students and a novelist exploring human connections, Dr. Raman brings analytical depth and practical insights to his storytelling. His journey from banking executive to educational leader to published author exemplifies his commitment to understanding how we can maintain authentic relationships in our increasingly digital world. So let's all welcome Dr. Raman.
Thank you so
So,
much.
sir,
Thank,
so,
thank you.
first of all, congratulations on your book launch. How does it feel to be able to share, the Morrison family story with the readers?
It's particularly very humbling to begin with. It's only been a dream that's come true thanks to a lot of people who have been involved in this entire journey. It's sometimes it takes a lot of courage to take the first step, and then you need to have a very supportive team. I'm extremely thankful to the team at Adhyan Books in shaping my thoughts into words and words into a publication. This is perhaps one of the best moments for any author.
So the story begins with Morrison's on a Yellowstone vacation. Why did you choose this particular setting, for showcasing their struggles?
So, before we get into the question per se, it's important to inform all our viewers why this particular book itself was curated. So, I'm an academician. I was a practicing industry professional for more than 16 years of my life. And my transition into academia meant that I was always observing student behavior across multiple different classroom settings. One of the core challenges that academicians face today is the short attention time span. And that is thanks to the attention economy, which has led to a lot of students being distracted or being addicted to the smart devices. Perhaps this was the first motivation. And why Yellowstone? Okay, so Yellowstone is one of those beautiful locations which is known for its breathtaking natural beauty. And also, it embodies perfect silence. In fact, this whole journey of crafting Morrison's family digital rebellion was of a family that wanted to break away from devices that they were addicted to, restore peace, bond together as a family. And it's always a story about what's at stake in today's lifestyle, which is so busy, so hectic. And many a times, even a calm backdrop does not lead to great family moments. So that was one of the core breaking points for this particular storyline. That's how we began this entire book.
So, as we progress into the book, each family member, be it Emma, be it Tyler, be it Zoe, they all face their unique challenge pertaining to the digital world.
Very true,
So,
very true.
yeah. So, what was the thought process behind crafting those characters? How did you put in those characteristics to make these characters relatable for the world?
It's a very interesting question. Actually, it's true that a lot of us can find their reflection in this book for a very simple reason that today, the way devices control our lifestyle, our work habits, beyond work habits, our personal space, I wanted to embody how Emma, like a working professional, was trying to wrestle her corporate over engagement, mirroring the typical workaholic nature of adults who have not been able to realize that boundaries have been blurred in a 24 by 7 um, rat race environment. And not to be sort of left behind is also the fact that how connected we become as individuals ever since technology started making its presence felt in our lives. So Tyler was already struggling with social validation issues, and the fact that today it becomes so important for each one of us to be part of some online community and engagement, excluding oneself from that particular space is like a FOMO moment for a lot of
Yes.
Gen Z and 90s kids. I'm sure this is relatable. And what we try to bring along was what are the core elements that reflects a teenager's anxiety. This is as far as Tyler is concerned. Zoe is still a younger kid in the family, yet she was innocently trying to be curious enough to figure out how not being connected to devices was typically morphing her independence. So, put it in perspective, these were not random characters who walked into the novel. They were all meant to be part of the family. They were all meant to be having blissful lives, more meaningful lives, but unfortunately got caught up in this entire space of wanting to always be at the forefront of seeking attention, at the forefront of seeking validation, at somewhere trying to figure out how real world challenges mirrors themselves whenever you're faced with a device or faced with social scenarios that doesn't allow you to get included if you're not supposed to be that active kind of an individual. So that's how all these four characters were crafted together. It reflects modern day family, to be very honest.
Okay. So, one of the key turning points in Tyler's panic attack, basically how a teenager experiences side effects of uh, running after social validation to an extent that he or she is going through a panic attack.
Correct.
um, how was this inspired? Were you did you face any kind of real cases when you were in your academic journey, or something
Yes.
that you personally experienced? How was it inspired?
Look, a lot of us today are part of multiple WhatsApp groups at our
Mm-hmm.
workplaces, and within those WhatsApp groups, there are sub WhatsApp groups. And many a times you are included for a reason, you're excluded without being notified. Sometimes there are groups that are strategic in nature, sometimes there are groups that are operational in nature, sometimes there are groups that are created for a purpose. But in today's tech world, it is easy to mask and not explain yourself when you
Yeah.
have to include or exclude individuals from within a particular group. Now, this sort of inclusion exclusion category leads to what I call it as a FOMO induced anxiety syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler's reaction is aptly captured because that was spiraling into a real research which has been carried out by multiple societies and technology based institutions. What happens when people are included, excluded? How do teenagers, even adults for that matter, start doubting their capabilities, their competencies, their potential? They start feeling themselves as lesser skilled individuals. And after all,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler is a very ambitious kid. He's a teenager who was socially excluded. And let me also share with you from academic perspective. In academia, if you have students who are part of multiple groups, generally they gain to have visibility, a lot of edge over other students within the university. Um, this triggers stress responses amongst those particular students who feel neglected,
Mm-hmm.
who feel left out, who feel that they could be possibly contributing more. And I've had real
Yeah.
life conversations of such students who have raised this, and they've been trying to figure out, why they were excluded. But honestly, We try to make sure that all students are part of all groups. It's up to the individual to participate, not participate. Now, I want to share something what happens beyond the FOMO induced anxiety syndrome that we introduced. And that's what your question was. It leads to panic attacks,
Mhm.
it leads to isolation, a behavior
Mhm.
that most students exhibit, and they suddenly become completely zoned out. Our book tries to capture how do we handle such situations in a very mature and free thinking manner. So that's what we've attempted to address.
So we spoke about Tyler, but Emma is one such character.
Yes,
Who's an adult, but is still
correct.
stuck in that loop, and is not able to come out, even though she is very much aware of it. So Emma's corporate experiences with engagement-driven platforms, they go parallel in hand with how the family is struggling. So, was this an intentional metaphor to show her journey, or was this, a subtle way of you to, highlight that an adult also can be caught in a similar loop?
So I would want to be straightforward and direct. It was absolutely intentional. It was absolutely intentional because Emma reflects every single working woman who juggles family, life, and household. And sometimes it is very difficult to draw a line where you can call it a day from work because some exigency, some emergency, some last minute deadline, someone forgot to shoulder a particular responsibility eventually falls on someone who has been. I can see you smiling out there straight away because most of us can resonate with what I'm speaking, right? So this is not an ordinary event. It is about maximizing engagement metrics. Somehow we all have become victims to this particular journey of over exhibiting our intentional passion at work and beyond. How does it lead to a working woman's family life getting hampered? Honestly, it takes only one WhatsApp message or one call for the family's attention to be hijacked on a weekend or after you come back from work. It's a late night call, or it could be a one emergency WhatsApp message in a group where some particular activity has not been fulfilled, or some deadline has not been met, or somebody just ended up committing a mess with particular deliverable. So it's in a subtle way we are trying to inform that we all are consumers. We all are battling the same war. We all are absolutely complicit architects in the attention economy.
When I went through the book, I could, very explicitly see that the book does not demonize technology.
Correct.
You are obviously showing a way to how, use it in a
Correct.
balanced manner. So,
Correct.
how important was it for you to present an ending which was hopeful for the readers, and not, because it with this kind of a book, it's very important to carve the way in as specific manner as possible.
Um, you're absolutely right. We didn't want to demonize technology because that's something which is absolutely non-negotiable, and it will continue to empower each one of us in ways that will only make our lives simpler. However, this is like a cautionary tale, and our sense was to also help readers try to strike a balance, right? So at one end I was trying to also offer realistic steps, because none of us should feel guilty of what we are currently getting
Domain.
ourselves involved with. Yes, because we are trying to balance between our time on Instagram, our time on Twitter, busy making reels. Then we have multiple deliverables at work. And just ask yourself this question. I'm not so sure how you felt after reading the book. Did it resonate in a way that, yes, this is my story. Yes, this is what I'm going through right now. did you find the book to actually help you feel like, okay, I found my journey on how to probably detoxify myself from technology?
Mhm.
Did it hit you?
See, for me, it was hands-on relatable because I see my mother in that same loophole as Emma's. I see myself, in the position of Tyler. I
There you are.
see the kids growing up these days in
Correct.
the shoes of Zoe. So, it made sense when you sit and introspect as to how much you have
Absolutely.
actually drawn yourself into the world of digital surroundings, that
Absolutely.
you are not able to actually come out of it.
Very true. In many ways, you become prisoners to technology. I don't like using such terms, but honestly, I'm yet to find someone who's like a sage and is divorced of technology in this modern hectic environment where we transact heavily on our devices like never before. But yes, there is this tale that also I want to bring through on what can be the possible solution in such a situation, because everybody, from tech companies to gaming console companies to organizations that are high on tech, have sort of earned tens and billions of dollars at the expense of our precious time, precious attention.
Definitely. So the Morrison kids eventually, become change makers through the
Correct.
end of,
Correct.
towards the
Correct.
end of the book. And
Yes.
was this your way of showing that, the younger generation still has the end of the rope in their hands, or, they can take the responsibility on how to come out of that digital loop?
You know, I'm thankful that you raised this question, because today I see a lot of younger generation kids quickly slipping into depression, into late night not sleeping habits, into binge eating. I'm not against any of them. It is just that we as a generation have evolved. We become very busy. We become very judgmental. It's not that this next generation is doomed or doesn't have a plan B. It is just that if we can reshape this digital culture, and if, as per the story, I deliberately brought in this symbolic relationship of kids trying to transform. Um, the message that I want to drive home was that change never needs to start outside of your home. Small little steps. And if we can disconnect from our devices, if we can change our lifestyle habits, if we can become better with managing technology, I think we can do ourselves an amazing justice to to exploring life beyond technology, is what this book is
True.
all about.
So, just you wanted to know your perception on this because you, of course, are the author of the book. So, if the Morrison family, let's say, if they would not have intervened, how they intervened, where do you think the story would have ended up? Did you think about an alternate ending while you were writing?
Yes, and I wanted to play a devil's advocate out here. Thank you again for raising this question, because honestly, there were two journeys that would have led to the closure of this book. One where the Morrison family would have ended up having fractured relationships,
Hmm.
would have caused rising anxiety, which was already visible in many situational positions that the family was undergoing. Whether it was Zoe trying to understand her acceptability within her girl gang, Tyler trying to socially validate himself, Emma juggling between family responsibilities, her corporate deliverables, the fact that she was always stretched to the point where she was unable to do to consciously any participation in family-based decision making. And
Hmm.
what could have what could have happened in this book would have been an endless case of validation, something that we all face in our real lives as well. Some choices are very difficult, to be very honest, and at that point, is when I paused and I asked myself, how should I address this book for the benefit of the global community? Is it important to bring in something called as awareness?
Mhm.
And awareness is about creating folks on the road, deliberate folks on the road, where we choose to drift, and we can drift. And we want to be choosing a path differently and deliberately for the betterment of us as humans, and live a
Yeah.
life that really is much more meaningful, purposeful, and connected, of course.
So, being the author of the book, and since the book is inspired from some real instances that you have come across yourself, have you ever experienced moments where technology made you feel disconnected from your loved ones?
Uh, Dinners. I can never forget dinners. I've had dinners with so many people everywhere. And the
Mhm.
one disturbing aspect about dinner time is people are never able to get their eyes off their phones. I don't know. I think I'm a victim myself. I want to include myself in that particular journey. So most of the times, I've found that people were physically present but mentally elsewhere. And those moments reminded me that connection isn't about proximity anymore. It's about attention.
So, do you believe that families today can realistically, put away their devices, get into a zone which is device free? Can they adopt what you're actually, putting the idea that you're putting out there through the book? Is it possible in today's time?
You're talking about a digital sabbatical. Well, realistically, yes, but that will take a lot of courage. And we haven't found any perfect family. There are no perfect individuals. Look, families will succeed when they start practicing consciously a device free time. And whether it is about being phone free, whether it's about having, okay, let me put this way, having phone free dinners, having screen free Sunday mornings.
Seems like a little difficult right now.
I think I don't want to be rigid about rules and talk like a typical academician, because I've honestly seen this happening with friends, with families. I've seen this happening with my students in the classroom environment. I've seen it happening in malls. People rarely lift their heads and walk.
Hmm. True. True.
So unless we practice intentional rituals like the way I was talking about, phone-free dinners to begin with, no scrolling after you hit the bed till you fall asleep. It's like a complete digital sabbatical, a
True.
detoxification. I
A
think
complete
something like
change
that,
to your life.
complete change, because I mean, we are playing with a circadian rhythm, right? A rhythm that controls our sleep cycle, our food cycle. But yeah, it's going to, like I said, um, to think about an ideal device-free digital sabbatical. Yeah, well, we are not so far away, but we can achieve it.
The idea still seems achievable if
Achievable,
done
yes.
right.
If done right, if we practice a sort of a digital detox moment.
So, now we're talking about the idea of a digital-free lifestyle.
Yes.
What role do you think that the schools and the workplaces help? They have in promoting such digital well-being.
uh, I think schools and workplaces have a tremendous role. In fact, tremendously important role. Um, if schools can improve digital literacy, and it's not about just handling the device, it's also about knowing when to drop it in the workplace, how to model that balance, what will be the right to do, um, then I think we can create a notification hygiene that I don't need to be on, I don't need to be switched on, I don't need to be connected with multiple different work groups, multiple different student groups, multiple different activity groups, multiple different friend groups. Um, I think it's all about cultural shift because I grew up in an age where we were not having access to any digital platforms at all. So, being a 70s kid, we literally didn't have access to. I still remember we had to open our smart based on the ability to um, colleagues back at our workplace. My first smartphone was in the year 1997. It was a Nokia 3110, and then you had to flash as if you're walking around the entire floor trying to show off to your colleagues and listen, I earned my first smartphone. Times have evolved now, but honestly, I feel that schools and workplaces can do their own bit in drawing the lines and trying to create a sense of empowerment.
Definitely. So in your opinion, are we adapting a new form of living, being so glued to our digital devices that it seems as if we are one? So are we adapting to a whole new lifestyle altogether, right?
What is the response you would love to hear? What will make you happier?
See, for me, if you come to ask me, then I think that there's this whole new era of digitization that we're approaching. The kids right now are, tech savvy from the moment they are stepping into the world. Being 1 or 2 years old, not even younger to that, wherein they are too much addicted to technology to such an extent they are not even having food without it.
You said it right. Actually, we are not inherently addicted to technology. It is just that the environment has become so persuasive that we are not able to divorce ourselves of those groups. That places its judgment about how connected we are on technology all the time. And the moment of truth is technology today has been designed to exploit human psychology. I'm going a level down so as to understand what is the core sentiment in our human brain that doesn't allow us to stay away from devices. It is more like if I don't commit a particular act, I'm not happy at the end of the day. So adaptation is possible only when we become conscious of the design, not otherwise. And you
So,
can you can
yeah.
actually put this to practice. If you are addicted to let's say swimming, you will not have your first bite without swimming in the pool. You'll not have your first meal without going for that mandatory 45-minute jog early in the morning. You'll probably not spend your weekends binge watching a Netflix series. If you were to take such oath,
True. So, just to sum it up, if you had to give if you had to sum up the core message of the book in one sentence for our readers, what would it be?
that your life isn't measured in likes. And in real life, one doesn't need a filter to disconnect to truly connect.
True, true. So, just to give a heads up to the readers about the book, what basically the book is sitting based on. So the book talks about four people who constitute a family that we're talking about is the Morrison family here. So we have David, Emma, Tyler, and Zoe. Each playing their own role, each living a parallel life under the same roof, and each isolated in their own digital bubble. Through their journey, throughout the course of the book, you'll get to know, you'll get to relate to them, you'll get to see yourself in them. So a bit of a roadmap for modern families to be able to navigate on how to judge what's the best way possible in the upcoming times. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us for this
Thank you for
enlightening
having me.
conversation.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure interacting with you, Ms. Nibita. Always a pleasure. And thank you, Team Adyan Books, for making my dream come true. Honestly, I'm humbled, I'm honored, and I'm completely thankful to the entire team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us this afternoon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more author interviews and book discussions. Thank you.